Hi everyone, Eric here with Mark Twain's speech on the Moro crater massacre. Mark Twain is a man who needs no introduction. Born in 1835 in a small town, Missouri, the man rose to become one of the most famous American writers in history, with his prose and humor respected throughout the world. Best known for his novels The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and its sequel, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Twain also dedicated his sharp wit and writing skills to championing worthy causes. One such cause was protesting American expansionism. The writer of the great American novel became disillusioned with the United States' policy of empire building, seeing it as subjugation of other peoples for exploitation, rather than raising them up and gifting them democracy. This hypocrisy between word and deed motivated Twain to become the vice president of the American Anti-Imperialist League in 1901, and remained in his position until his death in 1910. While a member of the group, he wrote many articles protesting American expansionism. Most notably, he vigorously protested the treatment of the Philippines in the aftermath of the Spanish-American War. The Spanish-American War involved both sides fighting over the destiny of Cuba, then under tyrannical Spanish rule. The United States was victorious, and not only solidified their grasp on Cuba, but also on the Spanish colonies of Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines, effectively shattering the Spanish Empire, becoming a global power in and of themselves. Many of the rebels of these countries, particularly Filipinos struggling for independence, fought alongside the Americans and hoped to be granted their own independence. Unfortunately, Americans decided to cede the nation into their territory, and the rebels suddenly found their former masters replaced by others. Tensions rose until war broke out between the Filipino revolutionaries and the American colonial government. This began the Filipino-American War. The Filipino-American War lasted 3 years, between 1899 and 1902, and ended in American dominance. The dream of Filipino independence would not be realized until 1946. One of the particularly brutal chapters involved in the war was the conquest of the Moro peoples. The speech by Twain was spoke by the Moro crater massacre, where a contingent of American Marines slaughtered a Moro village of 600, most of them civilians. What disgusted Twain and other anti-imperialists the most about this and other atrocities was that they were committed while the United States branded themselves as champions of righteousness. The speech begins with the narrator. The orthodox texts in American history pay attention to what was called a splendid little war, the victory of the United States in the 3-month-long Spanish-American War of 1898, but they slide quickly over the bloody conquest of the Philippines that went on for years, which President McKinley said was necessary to civilize and Christianize the Filipinos, and Theodore Roosevelt hailed the Philippines as the newest outpost of the American Empire. Roosevelt loved war and militarism, and when the Army massacred 600 Moros on the southern island of the Philippines in 1906, Roosevelt congratulated the commanding general. Here is Mark Twain's response. This incident burst upon the world last Friday in an official cablegram from the commander of our forces in the Philippines to our government in Washington. The substance of it is as follows. A tribe of Moros, dark-skinned savages, have fortified themselves in the bowl of an ancient crater not many miles from Jolo. And as they were hostiles and bitter against us because we have been trying for 8 years to take their liberties from them, their presence in that location was a menace. Our commander, General Leonard Wood, ordered a reconnaissance. It was found that the Moros numbered 600, counting women and children, that their crater bowl was in the summit of a peak or mountain 2,200 feet above sea level, and very difficult of access for Christian troops and artillery. Then General Wood ordered a surprise, and went along himself to see the order carried out. General Wood's order was, kill or capture the 600. There, with 600 engaged on each side, we lost 15 men killed outright, and we have 32 wounded, counting that nose and that elbow. The enemy numbered 600, including women and children, and we abolished them utterly, leaving not even a baby alive to cry for its dead mother. This is incomparably the greatest victory that has ever been achieved by Christian soldiers of the United States. So far as I can find out, there is only one person among our 80 millions who allowed himself the privilege of a public remark on this great occasion. That was the President of the United States. All day Friday, he was studiously silent as the rest, but on Saturday he recognized his duty required him to say something, and he took his pen and performed that duty. This is what he said. To General Leonard Wood, I congratulate you and the officers and the men of your command upon the brilliant feat of arms wherein you and they so well upheld the honor of the American flag. Signed, Theodore Roosevelt. I have read carefully the Treaty of Paris. I have seen that we do not intend to free, but to subjugate the people of the Philippines. We have gone there to conquer, not to redeem. It seems to me, be our pleasure and our duty to make these people free, and let them deal with their own domestic questions in their own way. And so I am an anti-imperialist. I am opposed to having the eagle put his talons on any other land. Thank you.